Hey everybody, welcome back to 3D Kool Hacks. I'm Jared, and in this video we're going to talk today about 5 things I wish I knew or considered before buying this 3D printer. Let's get to the video. The first thing that you need to ask yourself, and you need to be honest with yourself, why are you buying this 3D printer? This 3D printer can become very expensive to the point of just not only the 3D printer, but the type of materials that you're buying for this thing. And the thing is that you do not want this to turn into a very expensive toy that just sits there and does nothing. So consider before you buy this, is it for a business? Is it for a hobby? Do you like knickknacks, things like that? Because these costs can add up. And that's where I'm gonna come to the price, you guys. So the price, you don't only have the price of the 3D printer right here, because 3D printers can be anywhere from $300 up to thousands of dollars. I picked this Bamboo P1S up for about $549. It's still on sale. It has the AMS where it comes with 4 colors. You know, I've been pretty happy with it, but I didn't think about the supplies, the tools that you needed and things like that. And the first thing off is the filament right here. This filament right here, you'll start picking up different types of filament. So this is PLA, but you'll start printing different things to the point of like PETG and ABS and things like that. And that's where a lot of this stuff can start costing a lot more than what you expect. Right now, where it comes to just the seasons, things that I've actually done, for example, is this right here. This is the Grinch hand. We have green, white, red, and they have a black little placard. But you'll be using a lot more of that filament in those colors during different seasons like Christmas, holiday, Halloween, things like that. You'll start adding up these filaments that you'll only use for certain seasons, and it does start getting expensive. The average roll of filament for me has been about $15, and I got about 30 rolls. I mean, with that extra cost, we're talking about an extra $450 where it comes to that being added onto this printer. Plus, like I said earlier, where it comes to starting to print with different kind of filaments. PETG and the other filaments just moving forward, all these filaments actually attract moisture. You start talking about, hey, let's do this PETG, let's start printing this stuff out, and it gets stringy without drying it out. You need to consider a dryer. Right here, I have the Sunlu dryer. I do have a video if you want to check that out, how to install it. I really do like it. It's about $120 originally priced. You can find them for about $100 every so often. Then I have this Clay-Do. You know how to say it, but this right here does 4 filaments where it comes to drying also, and it does all the filaments, and this costs about $100. Once again, we're talking about the price, about how this thing just starts adding up, and it's just like, man, you know, you have to be very aware of when you start buying all this stuff, because it can really hit the pocketbook and just, you don't know what to do with all this filament, and it's just like, and you look at the big picture, it can get expensive. The next point I want to talk about is space and storage. Too many times when you get a 3D printer, you get really excited. Like, I didn't have a micro center or things like that around me. I had a coworker said, hey, you should get this 3D printer. That's the best value for the money. So I purchased it. And when it came, it blew me away about how big this box was. And it blew me away even more when I got it set up. These things are monstrous and they take a lot of space. Plus, you have to have it on a flat surface. So right now, I'm not too sure if you noticed what this is, but this is a refrigerator. I have a little refrigerator. It's a solid surface. I put a piece of wood on it because you can't put it onto surfaces like this. Like, you'll see it's shaking. You'll actually start getting a lot of errors if you put it on a surface like this. I mean, you might be putting it onto a countertop somewhere, and maybe even the floor, but it takes up a lot of space. And then we're talking about space once again. The other space you need to think about is where it comes to your tools, your carts, things like that. Like, I have 2 of these. There's one behind the camera. It's taking up a lot of space for me, so I'm trying to figure out different storage solutions. Printed these out right here. These are to the point of where it comes to putting these dowel rods up where I can hang these up on the wall. And it takes up a lot of space. So where it comes to just doing the math, where it comes to these 3D filaments right here, and it does have a little bit of weight to them also. But the standard roll of filament right here is about 8 inches where it comes to diameter, and it's about 2.5 inches where it comes to the width. And if you kind of add up 30 rolls where it comes to 2.5 inches, you're talking about 75 inches. That's 6.25 feet that you need to have to store these things. And then you go through, and where it comes to storage, here goes another extra added cost for you, is that you'll get dryers. And I'll be honest with you guys, the biggest thing I don't like about this whole 3D printing thing is how ugly everything is around me. I mean, it just becomes a mess, and you really need to figure out a storage solution for this, because space can become an issue. You know, the last part where it comes to space, where it comes to your 3D printer, 3D prints, you have like your Grinch hand right here. This is for Christmas only. So I printed it out. It's pretty large. I need to find a place to store it for 10 more months before I bring it out. And I printed this out in PLA. I had to have it where I put it somewhere, because I can open up that box the next year and these fingers could be all messed up. This whole print could be melted. Depends on the temperature of where I store this. But really think about where it comes to your storage needs and about your space requirements before you do this, because you might have an unhappy wife, and they say unhappy wife is an unhappy life. That's why this is out here and not in my house. Just be very aware of everything where it comes to the space, because it can become overwhelming for you and for your family. The next thing I didn't even think about was the time and frustration that I have where it comes to printing out a lot of this stuff. You don't understand about how much time things take to print. Like right here, this little box, you can pick this up at Lowe's for about $2.50 if you can find it. But where it comes to this right here, it's $2.50 to print this right here. And it costs $2.50 to buy it from Lowe's, which you cannot get. It took me about 2 hours of time to print that one little box. And it's just like, is it worth your time to print out that box, or is it worth your time to just go pick it up? Because the materials that they have in the Lowe's ones, it's where it's like formed together, where you'll have a lot more luck where it comes to lasting and longevity. And the other thing is where it comes to time and patience and things like that. You'll start printing out things, waste of money, and it just went. These are for my waste camera that I was gonna mount up to my 3D printer. I printed up these, they're junk, they're a waste of time. But then I found this right here. This is from Amazon. It is for the waste camera. It goes onto my 3D printer wall. I just paste it on there before I can do my recording on it. But this cost me $9.99. These other prints I had, they didn't work out. It was a lot of frustration, time, energy, and it just didn't work out for me. And then the last thing is the software. This is kind of combined where it comes to time and software. The reason why I have this up right here right now is I found a really cool design. And I have no knowledge where it comes to CAD design. XY axis is how you set things up. And it took me about 2 weeks to figure this out. I've had a lot of wasted prints where it comes to these, but I found this really cool design. But where this really cool design happens, you have it for 11-inch iPad, which I have right here, or a 13-inch iPad, and you have a MacBook Pro. I printed out a bunch of these and I started trying to modify it. And when I started modifying it, I didn't understand the difference between X, Y axes when I started modifying them. And I had a lot of failed prints because the reason I was modifying was because this little slit right here did not fit my MacBook Pro. And the reason why it didn't fit my MacBook Pro was because I have a case on it. This tolerance for this particular design is so tight that when I went to extend the X-axis to make it longer to get this little gap bigger, it threw it off because these are not the right things on the plate. Once again, I don't know anything about software, but you have to kind of do a deep dive, and I went through YouTube and I tried to find how to do some of this stuff. And by the end of the day, I was able to fix it. So right now, where it comes to the modifications, I had to learn how to cut. So I cut these pieces off right here to make it where I didn't need to have it for a 13 or 11 inch iPad. I just needed it for an iPad. And the other thing I did was I had to extend it a little bit to the point of making it wider to get my get my MacBook Pro in here. And when I went to extend it, things just got all wonky for me. And I was like, how do I fix this? So I had to figure out how to cut these off right here. I had to figure out how to flip the print. I had to figure out how to mirror the print. And I finally figured it out after 2 weeks and probably 2 rolls of filament. I have so many junk prints because I could not understand the software. That's where it becomes frustrating also. You need to have an open mind, and you have to understand there is a lot of videos out there where it comes to YouTube for these 3D prints, but it's really hard to find quality ones. But this is not only just for a display of my like and subscribe to 3D Kool Hacks, but it's just to show you that where it comes to frustrations and how I was doing it was just to get it set up, because I want to use this for Apple continuity where you can put everything together. And I finally got to work, but it was a lot of frustration for me working in the software. And a lot of these settings are just buried inside the software. But things that you should really consider before you go through and purchasing a 3D printer and what you need it for. You know, this is a very fun hobby. I love this hobby. I mean, overjoyed with the things that I've actually figured how to make. I mean, but it starts to wear on you and maybe your family to the point of the space, the money, the price, not considering everything when you did it. And you know, and if you start getting a really big passion, you should make sure you have the space for maybe 2 3D printers. Mine's coming next week. I'm looking through and finding my space, trying to get my organization done, and trying to make this the funnest possible, enjoyable experience for myself, and not get frustrated and angry about trying to learn all these 3D printing things. But you guys, I hope this video helped you out where it comes to think before you buy a 3D printer, because there's a lot of things to consider, and these were only 5 things that I thought were the most important. But thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to 3D Kool Hacks, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.